Right. It says I'm live, so we're going to assume that I am. And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to, PMQs? Yeah, for the 16th of December 2020. I believe it's the last one of the year. I believe Parliament goes into recess, which is a slight... Yeah. Okay, so, before we even dive into this, I have some complaints. Firstly, Boris Johnson blinked first, which means talks continue until the 31st of December now. So that deadline that was supposed to be, because we needed 14 days to ratify it, No, they reckon they can get it done in 6. Okay, well, good luck with that. I'm just going to sit here and wait for no deal. It's frustrating. I was going to make a video on it. I also had some other topics. I'm just going to my little MOISTMAS news server here I have with Trups. Because I actually put some things in here. Jeremy Corbyn launching a peace project. I haven't looked into it properly, but there's a cringy video to go with it. Owen Jones got ridiculed for a bunch of soft Brexit nonsense that got trending because he wrote some bollocks. Yeah, I had some topics, but I got a little bit busy and then forgot they existed. So sadly, we didn't get those in video form on this channel. The Peace Project one does intrigue me, I will admit, so perhaps we'll get to it at a later date. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to tab into the video, which is why you now see it over here, see, where this mouse is, yes. So, yeah, not great. Last week PMQs, by the way, the reason there wasn't one, I mean, there was, but Starmer was in quarantine, so there's no point. And the only interesting thing that happened was Chris Bryant, the guy who came second to Lindsay Hoyle for Speaker, mined the word fuck off at the chair, which led to him grovelling an apology in Parliament yesterday, which was hilarious. Does Owen Jones ever write anything other than bollocks, Tom? No, he does not. Hello, Leona. Hello, Gangweed. Hello, Mike P. Credible Threat. Crunchy Karma. Hello, Yorkshire Tom, of course. Yoshi Rabbit. Jake Thompson. Hi, Ash. Hi, Serene. Hello, Jake. Hello, Sun Showers. Have I missed anyone? Oh, the Rambling of a Madman. Hi. And I, again, just leave already. I agree with you. I'm 100% in favour of no deal. This is doing my absolute fucking head in. So this PMQ, though, I decided I wanted to do a stream with this one, not just because it's the last one of the year, but also because it's kind of rubbish. And I guess I'm a kind of got him a little, but kind of didn't. Perhaps Rondar. Oh, right. Captain Underpants. Yes, I've seen the pictures, actually. I've seen the pictures. So, if I switch to this... Yeah, we have the sign language. There is actually versions of PMQs on, like, The Sun, ITV, and other other Guardian News. Problem if I play their version, I will get a copyright strike. This is UK Parliament. If I scroll down here, they got a lot of subscribers. And, I'm not going to get struck by them. Which is great! I love those up and down votes, though. So yes, I'll move that. I'll get distracted by biscuits on my table. Yes. Hello, Zemgo, I hope you're well. I'm well, thank you. Did some murder fun time before this, wrote notes for tomorrow's exhibition of stupid people, and now we're here for this. This is annoying. We're not out of the EU yet. Hey, Lulu Bell. I wish your government stopped changing their mind every 2 days on stuff. I do on this because we blinked, conversations continue. Problem is, it's very much a case of we don't agree with each other and no one's willing to do the, okay, we agree to disagree. Can we just, like, agree to everything else and deal with this? I don't know. Never. Simple. You don't get rules over our sovereign rights and you don't get to control our fishing waters. Now let's move our military into the ocean, where they can stop you fishing in our bloody waters. Okay, let's just start this. I've complained long enough.
Right, we now come to questions to the Prime Minister.
Do you want, by the way, actually I'll give this a chat. So, you got this sign language doofus on the side here. Would you rather I put the paper pervert there for the rest of the stream? because then you don't have to see him. You just have the cartoon of Ian Blackford that was drawn for me. So I am kind of curious to know whether you'd rather have him there or not. I'm slightly irked, by the way. The video quality by UK Parliament is, was it 480 at most? Not even that. Is it 360? Well, it's 480. Nice. And then we still have this Muppet on the side and the graininess. So, yeah, you want that. Hey, Roger. We'll put the paper perv out there. Alright, we'll put him... There you go. You're welcome, everyone. Oh, hang on. There's the chat. Wants to blame for no deals. Both sides are running the clock down. That doesn't surprise me, Serene. That doesn't surprise me at all. Let's get on with this.
Prime Minister, I will first call you to answer the engagements question. I will then call Michael Fabricant to ask his supplementary. Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday I made a written ministerial statement updating the House on the latest position on the leak investigation.
Done his hair, as you can see.
As you requested, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure the whole House will want to join me in wishing all members and staff a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
No, it's MOISTMAS, and I don't give a damn about you guys in Parliament. Well, I kinda do. But I don't when it comes to you being employed to work there.
Members from across the House will want to join me in sending also our warmest wishes to all our armed forces, both in the United Kingdom and those who are stationed overseas. Members will also, I hope, want to join me in sending our very best wishes to all members of the emergency services, health and care workers, and those who will be working over Christmas. Mr. Speaker, this morning...
Every year they do this, and I'm sure there's a bigger emphasis on it this year because of sheeple crowd control, which is why the thumbnail has sheep all over it. Sorry, credible threat, for pulling at your national heritage of bumming sheep. It's entirely because I wanted to say sheeple crowd control. Hey, Socky. Hi, Mike P. Hope you're well.
I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others in addition to my duties in
Ezio
this
could
House.
jump in for safety, hey. You're quite right.
Later today.
Let's head up to Lichfield with Michael Fabricant. Michael Fabricant.
Yes, he's wearing a wig, we all know.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and may I join the...
Okay, I'm actually gonna... right. You have a certain amount of time to ask a question. Michael Fabricant is about to take a minute, and he won't even finish it, right? So I'm gonna skip ahead a little. Right, he started at... Yeah, he's over a minute already.
That's neither Smarby
He's
nor a
gone
lawyer.
for nearly a minute and a half.
Is he now?
We've got the message.
Yeah, see? Nearly a minute and a half of absolute inane prattle. Hey, Skog. I get Christmas off due to geography. Congratulations. I guess I do too. I'm not sure if I'm okay with this. I like working. Tom, I tend to agree. I'm sure there's a reason why Michael Fabricant, wears that particular hair. Because there's no way it's his. And whatever reason it is, I'm sure it's a great reason. Oh, excuse me. Because I don't do sim games at the moment. I haven't done them for a couple of weeks properly. The obligatory yawn has bled over here. My apologies.
Going to take the rule.
Come on, Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend is absolutely right to stress in many ways, but to stress the importance of people taking care this Christmas, because although some things are unquestionably going well, Mr. Speaker, and I'm very pleased to tell the House that we have had a good start with the rollout of the vaccination programme, and in just 7 days, 108,000 people in England, 138,000 across the whole of the UK have received their first vaccination.
Yeah, I'm still a bit on the fence with this vaccination thing. It's not bad enough about the card that's alleged to be rolled out as well, saying whether you have been vaccinated or not, which is a big red light for me, I'm afraid. It's the issue of containing such a vaccination and the how long such a vaccination could last. There was something else, before we even continue, not related to coronavirus, and I remember it. Okay, I'm going to save it for Friday. It's called the Online Harms White Paper. The government's response to it from a consultation, which sets a rather dangerous precedent for hate speech and other illegal related conversation. Everyone seems to be wary of the first batch, which is understandable. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think there are a number of questions, and this government has always had a bit of a issue when it comes to openness.
We must remember that transmission takes place
Well,
asymptomatically in
yes.
so many
John
cases.
Pertwee is PM.
1 in 3 people are currently asymptomatic with COVID, Mr. Speaker. That's why my honourable friend is absolutely right that we should exercise extreme caution in the way we celebrate Christmas.
Did he?
We can celebrate it sensibly, but we have to be...
I would say this, the CEO of Pfizer made the right decision to do that, though, because everyone wants a piece of Pfizer, meaning he can make bank. I would do the same thing. I fully understand that, although it is pretty fucking sus. Someone should yeet him out of the spaceship now.
Extremely cautious in the way we behave.
We now go to the Leader of the Opposition, the Right Honourable Keir Starmer.
And Saki, yeah, I tend to agree. Hello, Scotty8472, hope you're well. I'm not sure this is accurate, but I think the current vaccine here just causes your face muscles to make you smile, so we just grin and bear it. Huh. Well then.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join the Prime Minister in his good wishes to all the staff, to the armed forces and our emergency services? And can I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and the House authorities for doing all that you've done this year to keep Parliament safe and open in challenging circumstances?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't see 650 MPs in that chamber. I mean, you could, if you made a bigger chamber. I'd be down for that. In fact, go get a car park and make a House of Commons for 650 MPs so I can watch you guys go back and forth properly. If you're so desperate, make it 2 metres apart each. Best of fucking luck to you.
Mr. Speaker, since this is probably the last PMQs of the year, I want to look at some of the decisions the Prime Minister's made in the last 12 months. Let me start at the beginning of the pandemic, when images from hospitals in Italy and Spain were being shown on our televisions and the infection rates were rising in the UK.
They are again, actually.
Does the Prime Minister now accept that his slowness to respond...
Oh, no, Glopus, the reason I put him on the screen is so we don't have to see the sign language guy.
...led to more deaths, a longer lockdown and a deeper economic damage?
Hello, Little Miss Anonymous. Hope you're well. To answer Keir Starmer with this question of hindsight, which is the whole bloody point, the answer is no, because at the time, we could never have responded and got it right. There is no version of it where you'd be appeased and then the points you would make would be considered okay or acceptable. Because let's not forget here, there was no fucking PPE, was there? No. Why? Because it was bought up by everyone else. Right. The government did cock up when it came to contracts to get PPE from companies here. Yes. There are other issues, I guess, when it came to lockdowns, because the government had to introduce the Coronavirus Act and force it through quickly. When I remember that first day under lockdown, right? No gym. So I went for a long walk along the seafront. I think I smashed about 25,000 steps doing that. And I was just bored. And the funny thing to me was, there were no young people out, but every single old person was. Their view was, it is a threat, but I'm on my last leg, so why do I care? There is no version of it where they could get it right. And you know this, so hindsight is a redundant question.
Mr. Speaker, no, because...
Thank you, YouTube, for giving me an email alert on my screen that I see saying I'm now live on the Moisty Light channel. Fuck you.
At every stage we followed the scientific guidance and continue to do so. And he's right to draw attention to what's happening across the whole of Europe, and indeed there are spikes now taking place across the whole of the EU. And thanks to the tiering system that we have in place in large parts of the country, thanks to the heroic efforts of the people of the northwest, of the northeast, Yorkshire, Humber, we're seeing those rates coming down. And yes, it's true that we have spikes now in some parts of London and the South East, but we will make sure that with our adjustments to the tiering that we conduct over the next few weeks, that we will address those issues. That is the right way forward for this country. That's how we'll defeat the virus, with vaccines, with community testing, and with tough tiering. And I think what people would like to hear in this true ambition of the right honourable
Sorry,
gentleman.
I just hit it with my mouse. My apologies.
We conduct
down later.
Right.
virus with
My apologies for that. When I picked up my phone, I knocked control, apparently. There was a reason for it. I do apologize. Cthulhu Dice Ice, sure. Let's call it a dice.
vaccines, with community testing.
There's a
and
reason
with
I had my
tough
phone, though, I promise.
tiering. And I think what people would like to hear in this season of goodwill to all men is a little bit of support from the right honourable gentleman for what the government is trying to do to beat coronavirus, and perhaps just a little less carping.
I tend to agree with that. Okay, so the reason I mentioned the tiered system is because I have on my phone the NHS Test and Trace app. My area is Tier 3, which is very high alert. Meeting friends and family. Do not meet anyone indoors or in most outdoor places, like private gardens, unless you live with them or have formed a support bubble. Bars, pubs and restaurants. Closed, except for takeaways. Travelling. Avoid travelling out of the area. Well, next Wednesday is going to be an interesting experiment then. Overnight stays. No. Education. Open, even though they are the highest infection rate. Places of worship. Remain open. Weddings and funerals. Kinda, yeah. Small, yeah. Exercise. Yes. But there are some rather interesting stipulations. Didn't realise the gym was still open near me, but this year is now considered a write-off, so I'm just going to get fat again. Work and business, home if you can. I just thought I'd let you share this with you because I'm self-employed. I clean pubs. Not anymore, I bloody well don't, do I? Which is why you've seen me so active on my main channel. Because I'm not given the choice. YouTube won't let me say H2O in a dumb way. Huh. That's strange. Can I visit? I'm in Tier 3 too. I don't know if you're in my support bubble, mate. I don't want to be cuddly though, Miss Anonymous. I don't like being soft, you know? It kind of doesn't work for me. And by the way, I'm vehemently against this system because it's utterly punished me as a part of the entire of Kent when my area is nowhere near as high as other areas of Kent. I've been dragged down in solidarity. And I'm sat here like, fuck you, you pricks. By the way, this stream is demonetized, so please smash like. Investigate the grime in the pubs. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'd be surprised if they call me. I wouldn't be surprised if they called me and asked me to go touch the place up just to make sure it still stays clean. Hello, Darth Nictor. Hope you're well.
Palmer.
Well, Mr. Speaker, if the Prime Minister won't listen to me, can I quote his own spending watchdog, the Office of Budget Responsibility? Because they said the UK locked down later and for longer than some of its European neighbours.
Yeah, we had to lock down for longer because we were affected differently than other nations. I don't know, smaller island, more densely populated. I can't imagine why. Hindsight, Keir. This is fucking stupid. Inhalation of water. Well, there's an option.
Experienced a deeper fall and slower economic recovery.
As a chemistry major,
Speaker, this isn't
I can
bad
safely
luck.
tell you
It's
that
not
doesn't
inevitable.
really help.
It's a result
But I
of the
do on a
Prime
regular
Minister's
basis because I
choices.
keep on drinking water
But
from
if the
bottles
Prime
and it goes
Minister
down the wrong bloody
disagrees with
tube.
me, perhaps he can tell us, why does he think that Britain, the sixth richest country in the world, with all our brilliant scientists and amazing NHS, ends the year with one of the highest numbers of COVID deaths in Europe, over 64,000, each one leaving a grieving family, and the deepest...
That's not an accurate number, and you know it. It's not an accurate number. No. It's not an accurate number, and I can't say why, because I'd get pulled. You can all say in the chat, though, why, because it's an obvious reason why. It's not accurate.
recession of any major economy. Why does...
And we don't... Talks of recession. We had to borrow £200 billion, something which you fully fucking supported, you fucking prick. My apologies for the language. You supported the borrowing to bail out all the people that were furloughed, all those who are self-employed. There are 3 million people who are being excluded, and I tend to disagree with it. But you supported all the measures. You cannot say in hindsight and then plug at certain points when you have no leg to stand on. And yes, a 3% death rate, it's not... Of course, because it's like shifting the goalpost with poverty, absolute and relative. Relative poverty is what he supports. I support absolute poverty. What is actual poverty? It's something I grew up in. It's absolute poverty. Many people in the chat will know exactly what I'm talking about. Not Skog, though. He grew up on sausage rolls. All the sausage rolls. But to everyone else, a lot of you will understand that. Yet, Labour support relative poverty, which is not poverty at all. It's a version of it where you're kind of struggling, but you're kind of not. You rely on certain things here and there to top things up, which is an oversimplification. I'm very much aware of that. But I have to oversimplify it because I do not want to be here for hours. Hi, Diskanar. So we destroyed the economy, but maybe saved lives. Probably would not. Also, the NHS is broken and online from backlogs and non-COVIDs, but more lockdown. That actually really pissed me off when I saw articles of people who have cancer who required life-saving surgeries, and they couldn't have the surgeries. And there's an article I saw of a mother who is definitely going to die after Christmas. She's now considered terminal because the surgery she needed to save her, they wouldn't do it because of COVID. And I'm sat here like, fuck you. You talk about families dying to COVID. How about the families that die because you overreacted to COVID and are now denying people life-saving medical procedures? Are you fucking mental?
He think...
Sorry, Little Miss Anonymous. More hindsight, by the
Mr.
way.
Speaker, the House will have noted his slight change of tune in his criticisms of the UK performance, but perhaps he could tell me why it is that the UK is the first to produce a viable treatment for coronavirus in the form of dexamethasone, or the first country in the world to roll out a clinically tested stage 3 vaccine. Mr. Speaker, this is a pandemic that has affected the whole of Europe, and this government has continued to take the tough decisions necessary to beat it. And I may say so, Mr. Speaker, without wishing to cast aspersions on the point of view of the right honourable gentleman. I would take his criticisms of the UK government's decisions a little more seriously, frankly, if he had been able to decide last week or even the week before whether he even supported the approach we were taking or opposed it. He couldn't do either, Mr. Speaker. He abstained.
Mr. Speaker, I said 2 weeks ago at this dispatch box that I was very concerned that Tier 2 would not be strong enough to hold the virus.
You're right. You know what would be a better idea? Just mass genociding all of humanity at this point. No virus to worry about then, and the dogs can finally rise up and take over. Oh, and by the way, this whole global, local thing, I don't know, because I haven't paid enough attention to the rest of Europe, how are they coping when it comes to a vaccine, perhaps? Because I don't know this. And hello, Lord Granny Gobbler, and number one, hope you're well.
The Prime Minister said, don't worry about that.
And yes, Captain Hindsight. It's all Captain Hindsight. This is actually infuriating.
Just support us, throw away the problems.
Smash
2
them.
weeks later, what have we got? The virus rising in Tier 2 and Tier 3, and I'll come back to that. But if the Prime Minister thinks that the highest death numbers and the deepest recession is somehow delivering for the British people, he's a long way removed from the truth.
Okay. It's such a stupid thing to say. At the moment, there is no version where everyone could be helped. Have fun, Little Miss Anonymous. I hope you don't lose your eyeball and I have to replace it with a ball. There is no version of this where everyone could be helped. And he knows this. He knows it can't be done quick enough. everything had to hinge on a little bit of fluke, really, that a vaccine could be made. And it took 9 months. 9 months to do £200 billion worth of economic damage. Possibly more, depending on how many businesses go out of business. And many lives are lost, yes. But these lives were going to be lost because we couldn't deal with the issue. I don't get how you can always be so glass half empty and lack so much as a shred of optimism when you're constantly stuck in hindsight mode. By the way, I just want to throw this out there. Sadiq Khan, who has supported locking London down more and more and more, now has a new stance. But we should leave hospitality open because I don't want it to go bankrupt. And look, it's doing damage to my London. How am I ever going to survive? They won't re-elect me as an MP when I'm finally out of office in 5 years. Was it 4? Like it matters. Only when it suits them, huh?
Problem is, the Prime Minister makes the same mistakes over and over again. And 2 weeks ago, he unveiled that latest COVID plan. He told the House, as he's done so many times before, that his plan would suppress the virus. But the latest figures show the opposite, and the Prime Minister said spikes here and there. Let me tell the House, in 3 out of 4 Tier 2 areas, infections are going up. In over half of the Tier 3 areas, infections are going up. Exactly the concern I put to the Prime Minister 2 weeks ago when he said, just back us anyway. As a result, this morning, 10 million people moved into tougher restrictions, exactly what we said would happen, going up the tiers. Does the Prime Minister not recognise that his latest plan has once again failed to control the virus?
How would you control the virus at this point? Put the whole country in Tier 3? What's your solution? This is another hindsight thing of, it didn't work, so what do we do now? I know. Blame the government! Okay, well that's not going to help anyone, hindsight. Can someone, if someone's feeling artistic, can someone get a picture of him, draw him as Superman, but instead of an S on his chest, put a H there instead, make it a PNG and send it to me, because I'd like to put it here on the screen somewhere. I want a Captain Hindsight. Ash, if you're there, you know what to do. Hello, Higgs. Yes, it is always hindsight, and I can't be arsed with it. And he's only looking at Kent. I'm in Kent. Okay? My entire county is in Tier 3, and the infection rates are going up. But they're not going up in my area, they're going up in other areas of Kent. Because it turns out there's more people there to get infected.
Protect the NHS and our economy.
Oh, a
Mr.
CH
Speaker,
captain, yeah.
Once again, he criticises the government's plans without producing any kind of plan of his own. And
I tend to agree. Right, so first thing, obviously, is not, I should say, I agree with this. However, it is not the job of the opposition to come up with a solution. And if he's going to stay true to his word and have his party earn the £10 million a year they get to be the legal opposition, they don't have to have a solution. But in the context of this, I'd argue they really should work together. They really should have a solution. Work together, perhaps. Hello, Timmy's Yacht Club. And we celebrate MOISTMAS here. I don't know what that C word is. It's a profanity.
actually, if you look at what is happening, he was the mastermind author of the, I seem to remember, of the Labour firebreak in Wales, Mr. Speaker. But if you look at what is happening across the country, it is thanks to the efforts of the British people that we are seeing significant reductions in the virus in some of the areas where it was really surging, and that is because of the hard work of the people of this country. And we will, of course, be continuing to reflect that as we go forward with the tiering approach. And we will continue to roll out the vaccine and roll out community testing, Mr. Speaker. And I may say, I think that his time would be better employed supporting those wonderful initiatives, supporting community...
I know what this is. Okay, so it's just occurred to me. This is where you have absolute and relative COVID, right? Does that make sense? Much like poverty. So the government supports a more positive attitude towards dealing with the issue. And yes, that means accepting those who have been infected or harmed are kind of collateral, but not. Obviously, we want to help them, And we're working towards doing that, learning from mistakes and moving forward. He's dealing in the relative, and he's in the very much position of everyone. Just lock them all down. You know, it feels like I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed. His view is like putting everyone in a nice little prison cell, nice and cozy, and make sure they're looked after, all put away, so we know where they are. Keir Starmer's a Templar, everyone. Just thought I'd let you know. Don't send the assassins. Fucking hell.
Community testing, encouraging people to get a test, encouraging people to get a vaccine, rather than
I'll drink to
continually
that, incredible
attacking
threat.
what the NHS and what the government is trying to do.
Starmer.
Everybody to have the vaccine every time I've stood up and talked about it.
Yes, but then you proceed to shit on the government because hindsight. It's spelled ISO cube. But yes, correct. Everyone to the ISO cubes. I'll go get the Lego blocks for you. Someone get the shrink ray.
But the Prime Minister's just avoiding the issue. In some places, Prime Minister, in the last 7 days, infection rate has gone up 70%. Everybody knows this is a problem. The Prime Minister is yet again pretending it isn't.
Nice one.
Another major
nice
mistake of the last 12 months. Losing public trust. We all know what the tipping point was. The 520-mile round trip to Barnard Castle.
Oh, God. Hang on. The trip where Dominic Cummings took his children to his family because his wife was asymptomatic or had symptoms. So he took them away so that they'd be safe. And then there was something of an eye test related comment that was just stupid, but yeah.
And the humiliating way in which the Prime Minister and his cabinet chose to defend it.
You mean because he legitimately had a reason to take his children away and the only person they could take them to was hundreds of miles away from where he lived? Right.
And now we learn.
Oh no. Oh no, I know what this is. I remember. Okay, everyone. I'd like you all to, first of all, smash like, because I need the attention. Sit up in your chairs. Get your postures checked. Buckle up. I'd like to now play a game with you all. How quickly can Keir Starmer change subject onto something else that means absolute dick? Ready? I'd like you now to say, how quick can Keir Starmer do that? But make sure you're braced, because you've got to be... I don't want you to be disappointed when you're wrong. Hey, Polydub. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing well. Haven't seen you in a while. Yes, so do tell me. It shouldn't be long, because this is absolutely tragic. Apparently, we've segued from policies related to COVID-19 and, of course, all the fucking hindsight. Alex got triggered at posture check. Good. Hey, I wonder if Starmer will mention Kay Burley and Beth Rigby. Doubtful. Okay, does Keir have kids? I doubt it. I don't know if he does, actually. Maybe he does. I think he does. I think most politicians do, to be fair, except for Theresa May. Oh, we got some times. Okay, we got this, right.
Now we learn that while the Prime Minister and the Chancellor are telling the armed forces, police officers, care workers and firefighters that they will get a pay freeze, Dominic Cummings has been handed at least a £40,000 pay rise.
But he's been fired. This means exactly dick.
How on earth does the Prime Minister justify that?
It doesn't have to, because Dominic Cummings, thanks to Carrie Simmons, was shown the door. I don't see what the point here is. Especially because the £45,000 pay rise is hardly going to impact many NHS... I mean, we could give it to all the NHS staff. Yeah, I know he was educated in Reigate, incredible threat, because, big spoiler for you here, I grew up in that area and I went to the same school. If you split the £45,000 evenly amongst the NHS, the police, the armed forces, they'd get less than a fucking penny. That's just fantastic.
Well, Mr. Speaker, he totally trivialises the efforts of the British people in in getting the virus down. He says, and he says that.
Mike, that's a valid point. If it was severance, it still means fuck all because that's severance. It's based on contract. It's fine.
None of the measures, none of the lockdown measures have worked. It's absolutely untrue, Mr. Speaker. From November the 5th to December the 3rd, the people of this country came together once again to get the virus under control, and they may have made a huge amount of progress. We will continue with that tiering system, and we will get that virus down. And that is the best way forward for this country. All he wants to do, Mr. Speaker, is to lock the whole country down. He's a one-club golfer. That's the only solution he has. And then,
forgetting that it would bankrupt the country, it would ruin every major business, he would lose major support from all the unions, so why Keir Starmer would want to push with that when it would drive unemployment through the fucking roof is a mystery to me. Seriously, how does he stand up and say he would do something like that, which is what he supports? Why would he do that when he knows the consequences would ruin his own party? You could say, oh, he's doing it for the health of the people, by the way. But in reality, he's really not. He just hasn't got a fucking clue what to do. And that's not to say Boris is any better. And Boris cuts his hair with a strimmer in a mirror. It's why it's so all over the fucking place.
And then, Mr. Speaker, all he does is attack the economic consequences of lockdown.
And no, Boris is not going bald.
Mr. Speaker, you could script that from October and November, when he was saying a lockdown is the last thing the country needs disastrous. 2 weeks later, he put it on the table and voted for it. Ridiculous.
That is true. And you got more today from experts indicating that Christmas should be cancelled. And that's a huge deal over here. You can't. I don't care for Christmas at all, but then again, I don't have to worry about being around family because my sisters are in the same house as me. Well, 2 of them are, and they're three of their children. So to me, it's not a huge issue. But it is when we've got another sister and her 3 kids and her partner, and we always spend it together. So it would be quite frustrating. Smash like for good haircuts. Well, don't see any here. I mean, his isn't too bad. He's got the Richard Spencer look. It's not too bad. I always found it interesting, guys that have ridiculously thick, full heads of hair. They usually, especially like Starmer here, they always have the most unimaginative hairstyle you could go with. Like, I had a housemate, his hair was so thick, you couldn't see his scalp at any point. Even though he had his hair cut like a number 4 all over. You couldn't see his head at all. And yet he always had that same boring hairstyle. And I'm like, you could do so much with this. You could be like an 80s glam rock hair metal guitarist or something. You'd look amazing.
Exactly.
He could be in Steel Panther, but with real hair.
Exactly the problem what we've got. Not learning from mistakes. And obviously we know about Dominic Cummings. It wasn't performance related.
Who cares about
Mr.
Dominic
Speaker.
Cummings?
But I think
Who cares?
the British people will find it pretty hard to understand why it's one rule for our key workers and another for his advisors.
What, are they being fired as well?
And it's now likely that the next big mistake will be over the easing of restrictions over Christmas. And this isn't smarmy lawyers. Let me give you the British Medical Journal. The British Medical Journal yesterday said this: we believe the government is about to blunder into another major error that will cost many lives. The Prime Minister should listen to that advice, not just ignore it as usual. And if he really is going to press ahead with this, can he tell us what's the assessment, and has it been done, of the impact that it will have on infection rates and increased pressure on the NHS? What's the impact?
Well,
I don't care for Christmas because I'm not really a festive guy, polydub. But my family is. They earlier were playing a video of my niece, one of them at her school singing thing that they'd done videos for. It was cool to watch because she, being a chunky lady, is behind someone taller and with a bigger head, so you can't see her the entire time, but you can hear her singing. So I know she's there. And this assessment question, I actually want to know this answer. I genuinely do. But out of 6 questions, this is the only one. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, I wish he'd have the guts just to say what he really wants to do, which is to cancel the plans people have made and cancel Christmas. That's really...
It is a bit late to cancel MOISTMAS, and also I don't really want to be cancelling travel. I've got to go and do a few things. And I'm kind of stuck. You know, living is suffering, apparently. So, yeah.
I think that's what he's driving at, Mr. Speaker. He's looking a bit blank. I think that's what he's driving at. But I can tell him that as of today, and just this morning, there is actually, as I say, unanimous agreement across all the UK government, across all the devolved administrations, including members of all parties, Mr. Speaker, including his own, that we should proceed in principle with the existing regulations, Mr. Speaker, because we don't want to criminalise people's long-made plans, Mr. Speaker, but we do think
bring back the empire.
Absolutely vital that
Yes,
people should, at this very
okay
tricky
this.
time, exercise a high degree of personal responsibility, especially when they come into contact with elderly people, and avoid contact with elderly people wherever possible. And that is how by being
Does my dad
sensible
count?
and
He's
cautious,
57.
not by imposing
Does that
endless
count?
lockdowns or
I don't need an
cancelling
excuse,
Christmas
but I'd like
as
to
he would
use
appear
it.
to want to do. That's the only implication I can draw from what he said, Mr. Speaker, unless he wants to announce some other idea. That is the way we will continue to work together to keep this virus under control, to defeat it and take the country forward.
Keir Starmer.
No, I'm done with you. We're going to go to Paper Pervert, because I know what you asked next. It's all absolute hindsight. Let's go to Paper Pervert, people.
Of Brexit for investment to destroy, which is the true ambition of the Right Honourable Gentleman.
Ah, he's in the house.
George, the leader of the SNP.
Here we go. Buckle up, people. It's the Paper Pervert. I'm on this. Hello, Admiral Bees. And yes, go Empire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I wish you, all colleagues, all staff, and of course our essential workers, our health workers, and indeed everyone in these nations, all the best for Christmas, and that everyone does their best to keep everybody safe. Mr. Speaker.
I'm looking forward to Christmas Day. I might, because we're doing a themed thing. I haven't got the thing I need for it, actually. But I might just go down in a hazmat suit. Which is going to be fucking unbearable anyway. Because, seriously, have you tried cooking in a kitchen in a hazmat suit? Have you tried doing it in a onesie before? Oh dear Lord. I might do that again, that's fun. It's like wearing your own little sauna. And you turn your onesie into just a sweatbox.
In the last few hours, the President of the European Commission said that the next few days are going to be decisive in the Brexit negotiations.
For the last 3 years, every president of the EU, whatever, has said the same thing.
With just 2 weeks to go, it is a disgrace that businesses and people have been left with this crippling uncertainty and the real threat of food and medicine shortages come the new year. 1 year ago, at the general election, Scotland rejected this Prime Minister, rejected this Tory government, and
No, shut the fuck up. Oh, Scotland rejected the Conservatives. We mean the English. We rejected you because we're not racist, but we're very much anti-English. Okay. You're ardent nationalists who are anti-ironic union, ironically anti-union, to then be pro-union when it suits
cast
you.
thee away with my big gone clot fought repellent spray. Yeah.
Thank you. I assume that was Saki, by the way. That's very kind of you. And I like the fact it didn't bloody echo. I hate, by the way, this guy. I've got both of those, by the way, Cyrene. I've got a Stitch one as well now, with matching slippers and gloves.
rejected their extreme Brexit.
It's not extreme Brexit. It's leaving the EU. Shut the fuck up, you prick.
People in Scotland now need to know the price they will be forced to pay. Ahead of any vote in Parliament, will the Prime Minister commit to releasing a detailed economic impact assessment of the cost to the UK of his extreme Tory Brexit plan?
What is this Tory thing? You're the enemy. I must now refer to you as this, not as ruling government. Because you won't be ruling government, you smarmy, pudgy, balding prick. Will you? No. Because your only interest is Scotland. You're so arrogant, it's astonishing.
Well, Mr. Speaker, there's every opportunity, notwithstanding the
Touch
slight
that paper.
Uncharacteristic air of gloom from the right honourable gentleman. There's every opportunity, every hope I have that our friends and partners across the Channel will see sense and do a deal. And all that takes is for them to understand that the UK has a natural right, like every other country, to want to be able to control its own laws and its own fishing grounds, which ought to be important, I would have thought, to the right honourable gentleman. But whatever happens in the next few days, I know that this country will prosper mightily on the terms that we agree with our European friends, whatever they may be, whether they're Australian or Canadian. He can go forward with a high heart and confidence into 2021, knowing there are great opportunities for Scotland and the rest of the UK.
Ian Black.
I'm sure this follow-up is going to be absolutely dynamite. So, I'm going to let this one play out, and if I'm disappointed, I'm not even going to bother with the bloody answer.
I'm not quite sure what that was, Mr. Speaker, because it certainly wasn't an answer to the question. And I'm not surprised, because the Prime Minister didn't want to answer the question, because he knows that the United Kingdom is poorer and worse off as a result of the extreme Tory Brexit, and the costs continue to soar. The Warwick study estimates that Scotland has already lost £4 billion as a result of Brexit. Bloomberg Economics estimate the UK has lost £200 billion by the end of this year, and Scottish Government analysis estimates every person in Scotland, on average, will be worse off to the tune of £1,600. Mr. Speaker, Scotland...
That's not good, because Scotland needs to be able to tax their people more, and they can't if they haven't got as much money.
...has been completely ignored by Westminster throughout the Brexit process, and now we're being kept...
You haven't been ignored. No, you haven't been ignored. You've been very vocal. We just fundamentally disagree with you because your solution, much like in the 2019 general election, was to have another referendum, but if anyone voted to leave, it was let's have another referendum until you all voted to stay. Or to a majority of even one vote was enough. Your position is faulty, dickhead.
...kept in the dark over the devastating...
You weren't kept in the dark either. You refused to work with, so you were simply sent back to the, well, the back of the bus, really, so you can lick the fucking windows.
...price will be forced to pay. People in Scotland aren't willing to suffer the consequences of this economic vandalism.
You mean brought about because of your propaganda? Same propaganda we've seen from the Bank of England, who are involving themselves in politics. No one can say what can be until it happens. You can try and predict as best you can, but in reality, most predictions end up being wrong.
16 consecutive polls have shown a majority for independence, and Mr. Speaker, it's little wonder.
All done in the same area of Scotland. One area.
Isn't it as clear as day that the only way left to protect Scotland's interests...
I'm done with you. It's all about Scottish independence. What a waste of a question, you dumpy prick. You had every opportunity to hammer him on something worthwhile, but in reality you had nothing, because again you proved the point. You're not interested in actually getting something done. You're as bad as Hindsight. Sir Captain Hindsight. That's his special agent name. It's 007. That hurt my throat. Anyway, I'm done here. I have to go do other things this evening. Thank you for joining. If you haven't already, please smash the like. I do appreciate all of you that have turned up. This probably is the last one before MOISTMAS. So have a lovely Christmas. And we will be back here on Friday for political recap. And probably one before the new year, but unless something else crops up. See you in 2021. Peace out, nerds.